Yes, people, that's Matt, aka the Doc in the Arena, the guy that will give you those medical takes on sporting topics. Now today, Sergio Aguero has a heart problem. Barcelona played Alaves on the weekend. He went off just before half time complaining of chest discomfort. He's gone to the hospital, had cardiac tests, and he's been diagnosed with a cardiac arrhythmia, if reports are to be believed. Now, it's official, Barcelona have tweeted this. Aguero is unavailable for selection, and during the next 3 months, the effectiveness of the treatment will be evaluated in order to determine his recovery process. So, whatever's going on with him, he's going to be out for at least 3 months and re-evaluated. So, interesting stuff, potentially scary stuff for him, although, again, it's reported that he's quite calm about the situation. So this is where I come in. In this video, I'm going to explain to you what a cardiac arrhythmia is, and I'm going to give you some reasons why an individual might have a cardiac arrhythmia, particularly an athlete. You're not going to want to miss this, and yes, I will be discussing the dreaded V word, so stick around to the end. If you like this type of content, actually hit like because it really helps the channel. Subscribe and press the bell because the videos are coming thick and fast. And also just jump in the comments. A lot of things going in the comments, a lot of chat goes on in the Discord, so get involved. Other than that, let's dive straight in. So the question to ask is, what is a cardiac arrhythmia? A cardiac arrhythmia is a fancy way of saying an irregular heartbeat. So instead of your heart going ba-boom, 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 it kind of goes, you know, kind of beatboxes all over the place, yeah? You end up with the palpitation, the chest discomfort that Aguero probably felt at the time, which is why he came off. So if we know that a cardiac arrhythmia is just an irregular heartbeat, the next question is, what could cause an irregular heartbeat in a young, otherwise healthy, fit, athletic guy? So I've got 3 or 4 reasons that I want to run past you guys. And the first one, just thinking out loud, because I spoke with a colleague about it the other day, is caffeine. So caffeine, we know, we might love it. It's in energy drinks, it's in coffee, and there is a link between an irregular heartbeat and caffeine usage in high doses, right? This is interesting because caffeine is also a well-used supplement within the athletic world. Obviously, it's legal and it helps improve performance. Now, with regards to dosage, yeah, so I'm going to tell you some numbers that might not mean anything to you, but bear with me. Okay, so I've looked at some research, and the safe effective dose is about 5 milligrams per kilogram. So I'm an 80 kilogram male. Okay, my safe dose would be 400 milligrams. Okay, so that's 5 times 80. Yeah, that's 400. So if I told you 400 milligrams is my safe dose when I'm doing sport, that wouldn't mean anything to you. But if I was then to tell you that is the equivalent of 5 cans of Red Bull, you'd be like, huh? Like, you know, probably just on instinct, you'd be like, 5 cans of Red Bull before doing sport. Surely that's going to make your heart race and X, Y, and Z. And that's how it kind of is. It is not a common thing. Caffeine is used frequently throughout the sports world with no problems whatsoever. But I know for a fact that some of my colleagues have had athletes that they've worked with have irregular heartbeats that have been attributed to excessive caffeine use. I thought I'd put the caffeine in there because it's a cause of an irregular heartbeat that I am aware of, and I just thought it's interesting. But I'm not saying that is the cause. But be careful of caffeine usage when performing sport. Definitely. And I'll probably do a separate video on it because there's a lot to talk about with that. So moving on, the second and more worrying thing I would consider would be any sort of structural heart problem. Now, irregular heartbeats can be triggered by changes in the heart structure and the heart muscle, particularly the development of cardiomyopathy, so heart muscle disease. Okay, this is important because cardiomyopathies are the most common cause of sudden death in young athletic populations. That is the most common cause. So if you are developing a cardiomyopathy and that has been seen on his cardiac screen or cardiac testing, it is likely that he will be recommended not to return to sport. So that's the type of thing that worries me. You know, has he over time been developing this changes in his heart? In addition to cardiomyopathies, there could be other structural issues with the heart. You know, there's issues with the valves in the heart, issues in the arteries supplying the heart. I won't get into the technical details, but the point I'm making is any sort of developments like that. We saw what happened with Iker Casillas and his heart situation. He ended up with a heart attack, didn't he? And he wasn't able to play again. And it would be those kind of more permanent structural changes to the heart that would concern me. The fact that he's going to be reassessed in 3 months suggests to me that the doctors think it's something that is treatable or reversible. So I'm less worried about that. But that would be probably the serious, most worst case scenario for Aguero and cannot be ignored. Number 3, he could have other medical conditions that we don't know about that can affect the heart. So changes in your electrolytes, you've probably heard of electrolytes when you're talking about Lucozade, Gatorade, this, that and the other. But changes in your electrolytes, changes in some of the chemicals or the hormones in the blood, like having an overactive thyroid gland, can lead to an irregular heartbeat, okay? And that could be underlying and something that Aguero either knew about previously or didn't know about. And it's something, again, potentially can be treated, and if it can be treated, he can return to sport. But he might have a medical condition that we don't know about and that he's battling with, and I wish him all the best in that if that is the case. Another 4th thing that I will squeeze in there, he could just be unlucky. It could be just due to genetics or luck that he develops an electrical abnormality in his heart, and that can either be treated or be unable to be treated. And they're probably just assessing that now. That has happened with, I know Kingsley Coman had something similar and a few other players. So again, that could just be unlucky. So definitely got to slip that in there. Number 5 is kind of a combo one, right? So he could have been suffering from a viral infection, and a viral infection could cause you to have a cardiac arrhythmia directly or indirectly. So a viral infection could lead to him having a fever, lead to him being dehydrated. And those things are linked with developing irregular heartbeats when you're performing sort of intense physical activity. So he could be having that. We talk about Michael Jordan's flu game. And I've seemed to be the only guy who thinks, listen, that wasn't heroic. That was a bit silly, because he could have really been in a bad way with his heart. But yeah, that is a risk factor. But actually, more directly, sometimes the virus can attack the heart directly and cause something called myocarditis, so inflammation of the heart muscle. This has happened with Daley Blind. So Daley Blind suffered from myocarditis and has had heart problems kind of since, and he's got a defibrillator implanted in his heart. The speculation over that could have been the case with Christian Eriksen as well. This is something that could cause chest pain, irregular heartbeat, your heart starting to race in your chest as well. It's something to keep an eye on. And I wonder if it's related to that in any way, because they said they're going to reassess in 3 months, and myocarditis is something that is reversible, something you would keep an eye on. So I wonder if it could be related to that inflammation of the heart muscle secondary to a virus. So speaking of myocarditis and heart inflammation, speaking of viruses, people have asked me very directly, could this be COVID related? Could this be COVID vaccine related? Listen, I don't know, but I will give you the numbers. I'll explain this to you, okay? Myocarditis, so heart inflammation, is a recognized side effect of some COVID vaccines. It is. But I've done the research and I wrote them down, so just bear with me. According to the research, the chances of you developing a myocarditis, so some heart inflammation, after a COVID vaccine, within 1 month of a COVID vaccine, is about 1 in 50,000 people. So 1 in 50,000 people, 1 in 50,000 vaccines. So that is way less than 1% chance. It exists. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it doesn't exist, okay? What you have to also bear in mind is your risk of getting this heart inflammation if you get the COVID virus. So the risk of getting myocarditis if you actually have the COVID virus is, according to some of the research I've looked at, somewhere between about 1 in 2,000, 1 in 2,500, and in some papers I've looked at as high as 3 in 1,000. You're probably better off just trying to swerve the virus altogether, right? Furthermore, your chances of getting myocarditis if you have COVID versus if you don't have COVID is increased by 16 times. So you're 16 times more likely to get myocarditis if you have COVID than if you don't have COVID, right? So yeah, that's just the numbers. That's just the numbers. I'm not going back and forth with people about the merits of this vaccine. Obviously, I'm a medical doctor. I'm going to recommend vaccines, and that's what it is. But people are asking me very directly, do you think the vaccine has caused this for Aguero, this, that, and the other? I don't know. I don't know his vaccination status. I don't know what happened. But those are the numbers. About 1 in 50,000 likelihood of developing myocarditis within 1 month of the COVID vaccine. And your chance to get myocarditis is way higher if you have COVID. listen, okay, that aside, I hope you found that enjoyable. Ask me questions, I don't mind, in the Discord, in the comments, just more general questions. Got quite a few decent videos coming up, so hit the bell if you're interested. Other than that, I will see you on the next video.